I'm going to put the context of this.
Verse.
In the context of the parasha Chukat, we go back to number 20. Is working? And we're going to make the context. And Yehovah, as I read from number 20, verse 9, which is from the 2 days parasha, which is Chukah, and to try to explain something which is very spiritual and which was in such way understood by Moshe. I'm going to read here. And Yehovah spake unto Moshe, saying, Take the rod and gather thou the assembly together, you and Aaron thy brother. Speak you unto the rock before the eyes, and shall give forth its water, and you shall bring forth to them water out of the rock. So you shall give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moshe took the rod from before Yehovah as he commanded him, and Moshe and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and say unto them, Hear now, you rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and the beast. And Jehovah spake unto Moshe and Aaron, Because you believe me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. So here is and this is the water of Meribah, because the children rebel with or strive with strove with Jehovah, and he was sanctified in them. Now I want to understand this because it's so very important. And I remember a drash from Shaul concerning this problem, which we find. Let me see. That I will find rapidly, which is in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, and we read from the verse 1. Moreover, brethren, I will not that you should be ignorant how that all our fathers were under the cloud, all passed through the sea, and were all baptized into Moshe, so immersed into Moshe in the cloud and in the sea, and did all eat the same spiritual food, and did all drink the same spiritual drink. For they drank of that spiritual rock, it says spiritual rock, that followed them, and that rock was Mashiach. So here, Shaul is making a drash. He is an Hebrew and speak in Hebrew context and not in a Greek, with a Greek mindset. He doesn't call the rock Yeshua, Messiah. He called the rock Mashiach, which means anointed. That rock was anointed. It was not Yeshua who was anointed, it was that rock. That rock was anointed by Jehovah. And so it is a context. He said, but with many of them Elohim was not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. So here the point is very important to understand, because why does Moshe, why does Jehovah tell to Moshe and Aaron, because you believe me not, you will not enter the land? So we have to understand the context of that. First, we need to go back in the first context to know why it's going on. You see? So we go back to the first incident with the rock, and it was Meribah. Let me find that. I think, yeah, okay. We go back to Shemot 17:6, and he say here, 76, Behold, I will stand before thee there upon the rock in Horeb, and you shall smite the rock, and there shall come water out of it, that the people may drink. And Moshe did so in the sight of the head of Israel. And he called of the name of the place Massah and Meribah, because the chiding of the children of Israel, and because they tempted Jehovah, saying, Is Jehovah among us or not? You see, now the first time Jehovah tell the people, tell Moshe, you shall smite the rock, and the water will come out.
Yes.
The second time, he say, you shall speak to the rock. This is what he said.
Yeah, but he doesn't speak.
Yeah. But Moshe was angry with the children of Israel because of their rebellion, always provoking Moshe, always accusing Moshe. He was a man. He was from Adam, and thus he took the rod and smote twice the rock.
Yeah.
But this fact that he doesn't spoke do not stop the water to run. Because he said the water ran abundantly. The water come out abundantly. But there was a consequence not for the children of Israel. It was a consequence first for Moshe and Aaron. And he said, because you don't believe me. So the question is, are we like Moshe? Are we believers like Moshe? I think that Moshe was a greater believer than we are today. Okay? So there is something wrong here. It cannot be that Elohim tell Moshe you don't believe, because the word believe in English or in French or German has not the same meaning as he has in a Hebrew context. Yeah. So we have to look to the word and we see what is that. Okay? And we go back. He say in verse 12 and number 20:12, and Jehovah spake unto Moshe and Aaron, because you believe me not, to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore you shall not bring this congregation into the land which I gave to them. You can imagine the penalty for just instead to speak, he beat the rock. Okay, so the word here, the Hebrew word believe, is the word aman. Okay, aman with aleph, mem, nun. Okay, is to build up or support. Okay, to build up. To build up. To build up what? To build up on the word of Jehovah. This is what they don't believe. Because they don't take the word of Jehovah like the first time when he said, you shall beat the rock. He beat the rock. The water came out. But this time he said, no, you don't beat the rock. You will speak to the rock twice.
Yeah.
You speak to the rock. And Moshe, what does he do? He beat the rock. What are these pictures? Because remember, Shaul said, that rock was Mashiach. What does Shaul has in mind? Yes, he has a very great things in mind, because he can make the connection. Who bring the water of life to us? Is not Mashiach? Is not Mashiach? Who was beaten for us, according to Yeshayahu 53? It was not Mashiach? You see, Mashiach was beaten the first time, and he died. But to get the water maintenant is not by beaten, it is by belief, by aman. You understand? By faith, by emunah.
Speak.
To speak. Now we walk by faith. You understand? To faith, the faith in Hebrew is to rely on somebody.
Because Jehovah said is speak to the rock.
He told him speak to the rock. But Moshe hit the rock twice. He hit the rock twice. This shows us the first and second action of Yeshua. You understand? The first action is when he was beaten by the Pharisee and died for us. And out of this death, what come? Living water. Living water. And the second time, he say, you don't beat him anymore. Because now, he's the one who brings water. You don't have to beat him anymore. Because now you have to speak. Beshem Yehoshua HaMashiach. In the name of Yehoshua HaMashiach. And we do it by what? By Aman, to build up our support on the Mashiach. Because Yeshua said, whatever you ask in my name, it will be done unto you, or they will be given to you. You understand? Here, this is what Moshe, what Jehovah shows us, that now, this is the way we have to walk. This is why Yeshua say, what Shaul say, there was no belief in them. There was no belief in them. He said to Moshe, they don't believe in me. They don't believe. You think that Moshe do not believe in Jehovah? Of course he
because
believes.
Of his anger, he do it with hunger.
But he act in his carnal nature. He act in his carnal nature because he was upset. You know, it is so long. He is so long with the children of Israel.
Always murmuring.
Bringing
every
it
day.
in everywhere, bringing it in everywhere. Always accusation.
Accusation, yeah.
Always accusation.
This is
What we want to see here is the beauty of the Torah. The Torah is always pointing to Yeshua, to the Mashiach.
Yeshua.
When Shaul speaks about the rock that is Mashiach, he doesn't speak about Yeshua Mashiach.
The anointed of
He
Elohim.
speaks about the rock which is anointed to do
coming
something,
anointing,
which is the shadows of the true rock. The true rock is our faith in the Mashiach. You understand? This is, and it's a total misuse by Christianity. It's even in a messianic world and in many places we see that they abuse the word to make doctrines. But the reality is here very simple. It's very simple. That Jehovah wants to show us that we have to walk by faith. This is what Habakkuk said. The prophet Habakkuk said, the just shall live by his emunah, by his trust, by his relying on the most high Elohim. You understand? You understand? So this is so beautiful. And the what is called Meribah because of strife. Because of strife. You see, but these do not disqualify Moshe to be with Elohim. The reason was the time was not there yet for Moshe to bring, for Moshe to bring